here on Tune Up Tuesday on Ottawa BuzzTV. I'm Jennifer Clark, your host, back for another Soulful Solutions, putting the soul back into conversations, questions, meditations, and divine mindful engagement. I'm so very happy to have my colleague, my friend, a spiritual advocate here in the Ottawa community, Dr. Ian Prattis, back on my show. I haven't interviewed him in like 10 years or more, back at Carleton University days. That was a long time ago for both of us. He is a well-known spiritual advocate, Buddhist meditation teacher, author of his latest book, The World is Burning. So we're going to be talking about spirituality in the new age and whatever age we're in and the world and how it stands, because this is the cat to talk to. He loves both sides of it. Of course, he is also Professor Emeritus at Carleton University for Anthropology and Religion, so he knows his stuff. Welcome back to the show, Professor Prattis. How are you?
Well, I'm delighted to be on your show, Jen.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. I know we orbit in each other's lives every once in a while. I'm so glad that I caught your latest book. Love the cover. Can you show it? I don't have a copy here. Can you show our viewers the beautiful book cover? It's fantastic. You know, me and fire. I love my fire. Our world is burning. So tell us, you're an anthropologist, a religious, you're Buddhist, you know, you do the work, you've lived it, an academic, and then a spiritual being as well. So, you know, you're in the world, not in the world at the same time. What's this book about, and what's the message you really want to convey to people today?
This book is perhaps best described as a life work. It's 16 essays. This is a new genre for me. And I had some doubts about whether it would jive together. And then I started to get the early testimonials and reviews, and I was humbled. I prepared a very good argument with my publisher why he should go with it. I didn't have to use the argument at all. He took one look at it and said, yes, we're doing this.
Good.
So this comes from all parts of my life as I've lived it. It's not a scholarly academic piece. It's nuanced with the issues that I've dealt with, and how I've transformed those issues. So it starts off with a conversation between myself and my grandnephew. And it was his 9th birthday, and he was so sad. And I asked him what was wrong with him. He said, I don't want to be 9.
Oh.
I want to be 5, because if I stay 5, then the world will not burn. And that got the title for this book. And I talked to him. I said to him, look, well, I didn't try to tell him that everything's going to be okay. He's much too smart for that. And we talked about mindfulness and the basis of it. And for me, mindfulness is like a still island of mindfulness in society. And how do we pull that off? It comes with a lot of discipline, a lot of practice, and a lot of training. And then we're not moved by the insanity that's around it. And we learn how to navigate through. So that's what it starts with. A story with a 9-year-old boy who's terrified about climate change.
Yeah. So what was your grandnephew's belief? Like, did he think we're going down the wrong path? Is he afraid? What was he expressing to you?
For both of those things. He was afraid, and he was convinced as humanity we were going down the wrong path. And I told him how he could become a leader for the future. He's a very brilliant young kid. At 9 years old, I never thought of things like that. Never had to. And I showed him how, in community, with mindfulness, and this takes work. I gave him an 8-point program to keep, and to my knowledge, he has. He's a brilliant little boy. and I quite expect him to be Prime Minister one day. But that was to show that starting with our children, our little kids, and then later on there's an essay about gun control, and it's called More Dead Children.
Wow. Was that before?
No, this is before. This was written before Parkland.
Wow.
And it showed that when I wrote this about 10 years ago, nothing has changed, because I was writing about Columbine and Newton, and nothing has changed. And I was able to bring out that what the young people are afraid of is what the politicians, particularly the Republicans in the United States, are prepared to ignore. And the reason that they are prepared to ignore is because they've been bought and sold by the Koch brothers, sold by the National Rifle Association. So in a sense, I'm sort of bringing out truths and letting the reader digest them. So I start off with climate change. That's the first three. Then I go and look at family and community. I talk about how the foundation of Friends for Peace and Pinegate made a great difference in Ottawa as a city. And here there's a bit of an anecdote, because quite a few years ago I was invited to give talks and retreats more or less all over the world, and I thought about that. It was very appealing to my ego, but I thought, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to stay here, focus my energy in Ottawa. Thankfully, there are so many wonderful beings who are prepared to collude with me and support what I was doing. And it was just to make things a little bit different in Ottawa.
So tell us about, for people who don't know, I know well Friends for Peace, what you founded it, among others. What is Friends for Peace? I know it's annual event every year, but tell us a bit about what you want that organization to do in our local community.
Okay, the point of Friends for Peace was after the first Iraq War, when Iraq was being bombed, particularly Baghdad, and I suppose the bottom line is concerned with peace, planetary care, and social justice. And with those three aspects, we were able to inspire a lot of other groups who are moving in similar ways, so that there's now a 2-week peace festival.
Yes.
With the Friends for Peace Day at the end of it. And this has slowly led to things that one wouldn't expect. Now, for instance, at last year's Peace Festival, there was a huge gathering on Parliament Hill of people to meditate in silence with John Zabbatin. And that was incredible.
My friend organized that.
Okay. And, and all these things that you've got, so many people, good people in Ottawa. And what I'm sure you will like this. What I really like is the power of women. Women are at the front of this year. And when I was talking to my grandnephew, I was trying to show him what it's like to be a still island of mindfulness in the middle of the madness.
Yes.
What can you do? And the biggest thing that you can do when you can be that still island of mindfulness, it's magnetic. It does filter through to other people, and they will want to know more. So now
you teach in Ottawa. You teach meditation. I mean, at Pinegate and other places. We're talking about the book, but again, it's also the right action for people. What are some tips? We have that tragedy in Toronto, 10 people dead, guy in van knocks over. It's hitting a lot of people in a very kind of surprising way. We don't see a lot of it in Canada, luckily. I mean, we do in certain communities, I suppose. I don't, so I'm lucky. When we see the news or we feel a distortion, can you give us some tips and tricks for the average person to stay, in their center?
Well, with a tragedy like that, which jolts everyone, it jolted me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is, when something is as awful, as stupid, as so wrong happens, and it's just causing pain, I breathe into that pain. I slowly breathe into it, then I breathe out. And if I can do that for 10 breaths, the pain recedes. But very, very simple. You're just using your breath as an instrument so that you're not denying the pain, but you're reducing its impact to make it dysfunctional. And I think that the whole thing in these sort of situations is, and I think a lot of the first responders are well trained in this, because they have to. Because if they're not trained in that sort of thing, the first thing that's going to happen to them is they'll be suffering from PTSD, and many of them are. So a very simple step: breathe in to the pain, breathe into the hurt, then breathe out. You're keeping the thing in your mind, but you're also keeping the breath coming in, the breath coming out, and slowly
pass through you, right? It's that sort of Mr. Miyagi, let it pass through you, but it's hard because you tense. You're
totally tense. But if you can have the presence of mind, okay, I must focus on my breath so that I don't fall into a puddle of my tears.
Right. The last couple of days energetically have been puddle tears for many people. I know myself, as an energy sensitive, I've been really affected. Also life changes, my sister's death, things coming up. So, these tools that people like yourself have always espoused and taught are really the only thing keeping me going, because there's just so much sensory. It's like everyone's crashing. It's like everyone's crazy on Facebook. Everyone's reaching out. Everyone needs help. And they're clamoring for meditation teachers. They're clamoring, for tools. Can you talk to me a bit about one of my beefs, and I've declared this many times publicly, is spiritual bypassing. I trust you. I love you. I know you. You've lived it for so long. What do you think about people who think that an own breath can make them enlightened and they can just forget about how they feel and there's no karma and there's no more, like distortion? And I'm like, I don't think it's that easy, or else we'd all be, walking on water. So I'm just curious, that's my take. What's your take?
My take is that it's practice, there's training, and there's being very clear about what it is you're doing, and not expecting emancipation and awakening or anything like that. No, forget that. But what I did in the first essay is to lay out an 8-fold plan.
Oh, excellent.
Grandnephew, and that plan is secure in the other 15 essays.
Oh, wonderful. Can you hold up the book again? Because I really want people who love my show to get your book. At ianprattis.com. Because that, I truly believe that 8-point plan, like if a 9-year-old can do it, I can do it.
That's right.
And as I said, I know my own training and tools have not just been knowledge, like on a piece of paper on my wall, like they've been lived. I have been pushed to use them automatically without thought, without, like it has been a karma part of who I am. So as an anthropologist, I've seen your wonderful, pictures from all over the world, from the tribes you've met, from the indigenous cultures. You've lived a very lovely life. What do you think they're seeing? Like, how do you see the nature world, or whether it's the environmentalists or the first person? What do you think they say? Are they supporting academics and educators like yourself? What are they? I mean, we know they're not happy in general, but I wish we had a political agenda for them. I wish they had more of a voting. I thought there was something in the Security Council or one of the UN where the indigenous people was going to have their own, like,
that's in the works. But in the final section of the book, the 4th section, this dwells on the wisdom of the elders. it also describes what I learned from the medicine people and how they would tell their stories in a poetic voice, you know, and that made me think, okay, how do we find that poetic voice in our everyday life? We can find it when we learn to be still, learn to be quiet. The 8-fold plan I gave to my grandnephew. So there's a lot about the spiritual support I personally received through medicine mentors. And I had the good fortune to have 3 incredible teachers who basically got me to drop a lot of the logic and the intellect and find other things that were much stronger. So I have an enormous respect for the Indigenous people that I have been taught by.
Yeah, I know in Hawaii, I'm going back with my group in November because Hawaii is sort of one of my home courts. It's all the breath and it's the sound of ah, right? It's the ah. And so all their language is that lyrical. It actually sounds very Algonquin when you hear it.
Yes.
You kind of think, whoa, I've heard this before, closer to home. And they actually will comment when they meet other medicine people from other cultures. There's similar sounds, the tones and the sounds, and the ah, of course, being mother energy. The ah, the ma, the om being dad, the ma being mother. So you see a lot of ah and the breath. They speak with the breath. And that's why, when they speak, you really listen because they're holding such power in their bodies.
But that's the poetic voice that they're using when they're talking about their myths, their ceremonies. And I'm convinced that if a culture doesn't have poetry, it will implode.
Right.
And I don't think there's a great deal of poetry south of the border.
Well, I'm optimistic. I had a child late in life. I definitely had a choice to bring one in or not. I thought, I see both sides of it. But I'm seeing the rise of both. So while Trump is president, there's also, people standing up, rising, changing the way we live, how we think, what we do. Really pushing the barriers. So do you see any hope in that part? Like when your book and your essays, those were written a while ago, but you've been around, no offense. You've seen these sort of pockets of transformation happen over the decades. You are an elder in your own family, in your own community. What do you see?
I err on the side of hope all the time. And sometimes this takes a lot of meticulous putting things to right and also offering individuals and groups something that they can grasp. If somebody can't grasp what you're talking about, it's a waste of time. So I've learned to not so much simplify, but to put things across to people in everyday language. Not academic language.
Right.
So with that, I think there's possibility, a great deal of possibility. I am very encouraged by the Parkland teenagers.
Yeah.
Very, very proud of them. But the thing to note is that there's not one Republican in Congress or the Senate who's supporting them. In the sense that there has to be a tidal wave.
Yes, or
around these kids.
The people have to rise. The others have to rise. And so Justin Trudeau got your book. We always talk about the US here in Canada because they're such the overlighting energy, and sometimes we get too caught up in what they're doing. I'm all about home court. Make your life happier, make your neighborhood happier, and worry about, that later, in the sense that you can only control your own. What do you want if Mr. Trudeau, and it's actually possible, by the way, got a hold of this book, what do you want him as a politician who has a family, who seems to have the right mindset in general? Not every politician is going to please everyone. I'm not here espousing liberal versus conservative. I'm just saying he happens to be the guy in charge. What would you want him to, as a dad, as the guy in charge, hear or know or feel?
Many of the essays in here are about policy, and it's policy for municipal and different levels of government. This is for them to put into action, because the last essay is called A Manifesto for the Future.
Oh, lovely.
And this is a whole series of policy possibilities that have to be put into action. And the way the essays came together is still a surprise to me. That it all comes through in one way or another. Then at the end, bang, action. And I draw on the Hopi, and I draw on others. And basically, these are the policy aspects that government must put into place in one way or another. Mm-hmm. So the whole book builds to that. Mm-hmm. We're going from climate change. We're going to home and community. Then we're into transformation. Then we're into spiritual support. And the final part of spiritual support is a manifesto for the future.
Mm-hmm. So I want to interrupt, and I'm getting something, and you know what I do, so I'm going to send you this little nugget. The former Governor General, David
Johnson.
Thank you. I was going to say Jackson. I knew that was wrong. I want you to send him a book. Let's find him somewhere. I'm sure he's still local. And then send it to the current Governor General.
I will do that.
Yeah, because they have a new mandate. They've had an interesting mandate for youthful Canadians. Remember the old Peace Corps you grew up with? We really don't have that so much. Like, I didn't grow up with that so much. They're trying to do something. But my sense is that your academic background, your spirituality, your knowledge base could actually be locked in more on the university level or the colleges, that kind of age group, So for whatever reason, I think it'd be a good idea to send a copy that way. And I want a copy. I have a good friend that I think would love your book. Where can we buy a copy?
Well, it's in chapters.
But go for you. Don't give chapters a cut. Where did we get your book?
You can get it from me, and if you get it from me, there's a bonus in that you'll get a CD of meditation.
So what do I need to do to get a signed copy?
Come and see me. I'll be happy to sign it.
I can do that.
And you get a CD of meditations.
Nice.
And one other prior book. So there's some freebies, some incentive.
Nice.
So people could just email me at iprattis@bell.net, and then we can set up a time.
Wonderful. So is this your legacy book? Is this your legacy book?
Yes, I would say so. When I went through it, I actually read it through again. I suddenly saw that it was an authentic tapestry. This is what I had created. Mm-hmm. Whereas I was a little bit nervous of these different essays, and do they really jive with one another? And they actually do. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea of it being very authentic, very down to earth, and very impactful. It sort of builds gradually all the way through, and then bang, manifesto for the future. These are the policy issues to be addressed, and this is how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
will you be speaking anywhere, or could you be speaking if people wanted to invite you to their community, their group, their college, whatever? I mean, I know you're off right now because of your knee surgery, but you're still out. You're still in the active.
Oh yes, yeah, I'm still available.
Yeah.
If there is a group that would like me to speak with them, with them, I'd be very happy to.
Yeah, I've just been asked, as you know, to do one of the Happiness on the Hill guided meditations.
Yes.
So, meditation on the hill created by one friend is now another friend's doing happiness on the hill. It's funny. And then another friend does yoga on the hill. So there's something about the hill. But anyway,
Yeah.
I only qualify for the happiness one. But I gave them your name because, again, you got to be there doing your thing. That would be really cool energy, to be there. And I hope to see your name on that lineup soon because I love you. I love the work you've done and what you represent. And you do it humbly, you do it quietly, and then yet you step out and you do your thing. So I really do appreciate this book and you taking the time to meet with us. In the last few minutes, for people listening, new to this sort of anthropological look, I never understood why people didn't connect the dots because I can see the dots connect. But then again, I'm a planner. I'm a social architect. So I get to see how this affects that quickly. What do you want people to get? Like that sometimes we're not cluing in.
What I want the reader to get is a kind of a sense of purpose whereby they engage, is to engage with making things change.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't engage, if you've got your selfie going all the time, and if you've got it right in front of you all the time, it's not going to happen.
Robbins with my kid, and the 20-year-old clicked her camera on her ice cream for Instagram. I was just like, just enjoy it.
Yes, yeah. So the idea is to inspire the reader to stop, take charge, engage.
Mm-hmm.
If I can give you a very quick example, in the crescent I live on, all the kids get birthday cards and presents, but presents in terms of gift certificates for a girl's education in Haiti or Afghanistan, that sort of thing. And lo and behold, one little boy, he decided to ask all the people coming to his party not to bring presents, but to bring money, and then they would all go to the Humane Society, which looks after animals that are not very well. And,
isn't that lovely?
And so something's happening with the kids on the street.
Excuse me.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. See, change is happening.
I think so. I'm very proud of these kids because it's caught on. Then one boy did it. Two of the girls have done exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud.
Yeah. Well, again, I, as someone who came after you, is now walking beside you, behind you. I really want to thank you. Namaste Show was at Carleton for all those, 12 years.
Oh, yes.
Your home court. We had you on several times. We always enjoyed speaking with you, and I'm so glad that our circles are still connected here in Ottawa in so many different ways. And I just encourage you keep dancing until the music stops.
I will. I promise.
And everyone, we need to do that too. So please buy the book, Our World is Burning by Dr. Ian Prattis. Go direct though, go to his website, ianprattis.com, and please read it and share it with a child. If you have children, please check out the first 8-step process and integrate it with yourself and your family and see what kind of change you can be. So with Meta, my friend, thank you so much. I hope to see you on the Hill in the near future. And if not, at the Friends for Peace Festival.